Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. You're watching Q2 with BQ, and my guest today is from Garden Reach Shipyard. India is one of the largest shipyards in the country, and joining me is Commodore PR Hari, who is the chairman and managing director of the company. Commodore, welcome to BQ Prime. To begin with, you got a good set
Thank
of
you.
revenue in the on the top line from a top line point of view. Can you take us through what kind of execution that you did in this quarter?
Thank you, Sajid. Yes, we are, as you rightly mentioned, we are one of the biggest shipyards, defense shipyards in the country. And the current financial year, the first half, the results have been very encouraging with our revenue from operations moving up. If you're comparing half year to half year, moving up by 74% from 726 crores to 1,262 crores. And so has the total income gone up by 67%, the EBITDA by 31%, and the profit after tax by 37%. It has gone up from 79 crores as on 30th September 21 to 109 crores as of 30th September 22. So as you mentioned, our performance, financial performance, including the top line, has been good. Now, as far as the execution plan, our current order book stands at 22,930 crores. This comprises of 7 projects, inclusive of 24 platforms, that is marine platforms. These 7 projects include 3 projects for the Indian Navy, comprising of 15 weapon platforms, warships, 1 project for the Indian Coast Guard, a fast patrol vessel, 2 export projects, 1 for the Cooperative Republic of Guyana and 1 for the government of Bangladesh, and a new project for the government of West Bengal, that is construction of a next generation electric ferry. So as per our execution plan, during the current financial year, we intend completing 2 of these projects. That is a project for the government of Guyana and the project for the Indian Coast Guard, the fast patrol vessels. That will leave us with 5 more projects. As per the execution schedule, these are to be completed over a period of time up to financial year 27, which means the survey vessel large project comprising of 4 ships for the Indian Navy will get executed by FY24. The anti-submarine shallow watercraft project for the Indian Navy 8-ship project will get executed by FY27, and the prestigious P-17 Alpha advanced stealth frigate project for the Navy, comprising of 3 warships. Actually, this is one of our this constitutes a major chunk of our order book. That is it's a 19,293 crore order. These will be executed by FY27. So this is in a nutshell our order book and the execution plan.
Just to get an idea from you, because you can recognize your revenues once the construction goes past, physical construction goes past 35%, and you get the maximum value between 35 and 60%. What portion of that would fall between this financial year?
During this financial year, as far as the P-17 Alpha project is concerned, we are out of the 3 ships. For 2 of these ships, we are in that range between what you just mentioned, where maximum revenue accrual will take place. And 2 of the survey vessels, 2 out of the 4 survey vessels, we are again in that range. And as I had mentioned, 2 of these projects, 1 for the government of Guyana and the fast petrol vessel, will be completing. They already crossed this stage. Right now, the final outfitting and trials are in progress. And for the anti-submarine shallow watercraft projects, 2 of these ships are in this phase out of the 8. So in a nutshell, if you are expecting, I think the question is coming to that, what is the financial performance going to be during the next half of the financial, that is the second half. I am very confident of maintaining the tempo because you see, we have achieved 1,262 crores in the first half. So you can understand and estimate what would be the revenue which would be at the end of the financial year if I'm maintaining the same tempo. That is an indication.
Okay, give me a sense of the kind of order flow pipeline that you have, because the government has opened up a lot of orders for the domestic companies, and especially in the naval and marine segment. What is the kind of order tendering pipeline? Let me put it this way, because everything is now competitive bidding, where you are competing with private sector. So, what is the tendering pipeline available in front of you?
Okay, I'll just give a small background. Right now, 31 platforms are being built for the Indian Navy. Of these 31, 29 are being built by Indian companies, Indian shipyards. Of this 29, GRSE is building 15. Now, for the orders, so this is a current order book which I've just explained a couple of minutes back. Now, both the Navy and the Coast Guard are intending to, as per their perspective plans, they intend having 200 plus strong fleets by 2027. And with the complete focus of the government on Atmanirbharta, we don't envisage a large number of these platforms going for import orders. Personally, I expect all of them to be constructed within India. So the orders on the anvil are adequate to meet the aspirations of all the shipyards. You mentioned about competitive bidding. Right now, there are 4 of us in the defense PSU shipyards sector. There is Cochin shipyard that makes it 5, plus L&T and a couple of more private players. So maybe if you just put the order book on the anvil versus the shipyards having the capacity, there are around 7 to 8 shipyards who will be competing for this. So there is enough on the plate for every shipyard to enjoy. So the order books on the anvil is absolutely clear. The future looks bright. Now, in the immediate future, we have recently the Defense Acquisition Council had approved, they had accorded AON for a next generation corvette proposal of the Indian Navy. The order value is estimated to be around to the tune of around 36,000 crores. This, as per the present plan, this is to be split between 2 shipyards. And having built and delivered 9 corvettes, both the missile and anti-submarine corvettes for the Navy, our capability, experience, and expertise is adequate, and our bidding strategy will be appropriate to give a tough competition for any of our challenges. This is one project that is on the anvil. Another project which is likely to come up in the very near future is the 14 fast patrol vessel project for the Indian Coast Guard. We expect the RFP to come out by end of the year. In addition to this, the Navy is looking at around 20 next generation or follow-on water jet FACs. Plus, the Coast Guard is looking at next generation 18 FPVs. The Navy is looking at 2 landing platform dock. This again is going to be a high value order. So in the next 2 to 3 years, the RFPs that are going to come is going to be substantial.
And does the shipyard has enough capacity to handle that, or will you need to put in some new fresh capex to handle this inflow of these orders? Because in the past, what we have seen is that these orders take a lot of time to get fructify and then come to you, and then shipyards take time because there is also a backlog which is there in the shipyard. So when you say this 200 vessel which is required by 2027. Does the 6 or 7, including yourself, have enough capacity to handle and deliver and execute and deliver them by 2027?
As far as my shipyard is concerned, GRSE, we have currently a capacity to construct 20 vessels concurrently. Now, when I'm speaking about 20 vessels concurrently, the vessels are constructed in 3 phases. One is the phase where the ship is being prepared for launch. Launch is an event where the ship's hull form is formed and the ship is put to water. So this is the phase when the shipyards require the major shipbuilding assets, that is the dry docks and the building berths. After this phase is over, the ships move on to water, go alongside in, we call them jetties, where the ships are placed alongside, where the outfitting and the trials and acceptance process goes on. So on paper, when I'm stating that I have a capacity to construct 24 ships concurrently, in reality, considering the staggered phase of construction, the capacity is multifold. In addition to that, recently we have acquired 3 dry docks from the Kolkata Port Trust on long-term lease basis. Currently, I'm using them for ship repairs. So I have that facility also within Kolkata itself. Another interesting strategy which we have adopted is a public-private partnership model. And for a couple of projects, we have utilized the spare capacity of private players to ensure concurrent construction. So all put together, to answer your question, that the capacity, shipbuilding capacity available in India between the defense shipyards, the other PSU shipyard, and the private players are adequate to cater for the requirements of both the major customers, that is the Navy and the Coast Guard.
Commodore, if I look at your P&L for the quarter, I've seen that the raw material cost has jumped up considerably, and that's primarily because steel prices and others have gone up. Do you see moderation coming in on those raw material costs going forward, and are you hedged to that extent with your contracts when you're doing it with the government, where the additional raw material cost impact gets passed on, or you get the benefit in the revenues?
Okay, I'll answer this question in two parts. One, since we are speaking specifically about the quarter, when you say raw material, in our case, what has been reflected as raw material is the entire material, which again is split into components. One is the equipment and the subsystems, plus the actual yard material, the raw material, which in terms of pipes, steel, and so on. So in a shipbuilding project, the material cost is approximately 65%. And within this 65%, what I mentioned in the beginning, the first subcomponent, that is the equipment and systems, that comprises approximately 80%. And the actual yard material, which comprises of steel, the fasteners, the insulation material, and so on, that is just about 20%. So that 20%, if you're looking at the overall ship's cost, is going to be minuscule. It's to the tune of around maybe 11 to 12%. Now, since we are presently in an environment of fixed cost projects, similarly, we have already concluded the contract for all the equipment and systems with our OEMs and subcontractors. So we are not affected by the price increase in that majority chunk. Coming to yard material, within yard material, steel, as you rightly said, forms a major chunk. We have a running a system with another PSU, that is the Steel Authority of India, where reasonable amount of protection is provided. The balance, which comes to, let us say, fasteners, the insulation material, yes, there is a certain amount of impact, but the projects are adequately, let us say, managed to meet these minor increases in the overall cost deviation.
Okay.
To answer and actually no effect, no major impact.
Okay, I get that. I saw your EBITDA margins go up in Q2 versus Q1. Do you see this margin to be sustainable going forward? Because if I see last Q1, the street was a little disappointed. Your margins fell from 8 to 5.8%. Now you brought it back to 8.3% odd. So do you see this sustainable going forward, or is it going to be volatile as we see?
See, shipbuilding is like a test match. So I have completed one innings. The performance has been reasonably good. And with that head start, I'll be able to maintain the second innings also equally well. Now, EBITDA margin in shipbuilding, let us just go down to the PAT margin. If I'm taking the PAT margin in a conventional shipbuilding, let us say an efficient organization, with the orders not coming on a nomination basis, with the orders not coming on a cost plus basis, with the orders coming purely on competitive bidding and on fixed cost basis, any margin, PAT margin above 7 to 7.5 is considered healthy. So we are above the threshold. And to answer your question, we'll be able to maintain that.
Because when I speak to some of the private sector players, they say that defense PSU are at a major advantage because their assets are legacy assets, and so fully depreciated. So when they go for bidding and competitive bidding, they are able to price better as compared to private sector, where their assets are not as old. So so that's the reason I was asking. Does it impact you in any way in your profitability?
Can I answer this question? This is a beautiful question, because this provides me the right platform and opportunity considering your viewership. Now, when we are talking about a level playing field, as a defense public sector undertaking, or as a public sector undertaking, yes, it is not a level playing field, but that level is skewed heavily against the public sector undertakings. I will give you examples. I cannot hire, I cannot fire at discretion, because all my employees are government employees, which means I cannot hire talent the way I want. I cannot fire a non-talent the way I want. One, I have CVC, I have CAG, I have GEM, that is a government e-marketing place. I have GTE, that is global tender inquiry. If I have to take a government approval. With all these good governance practices. The too much of good perhaps provides us a imbalance when we are competing for the same project against a private shipyard. As far as the assets are concerned, we have not, in the last 5 years, we have not got any capital infusion from the government. All the capex that GRSE has undertaken, the projects that is all from internal revenues. Yes, there is a lot of room for improvement in any system, be it private or public. The level of imbalance today is against the government sector undertakings. So I thank you for this opportunity because I've been wanting to state this. So hopefully the message goes.
This is the standard argument which is been put in place by private sector versus public sector, because of the kind of pricing, flexibility, or what you call advantage that you have, because they don't private sector has to manage the depreciation and you have to manage the government or the policies of the government.
Can I just make one more sentence? We as a nation, be it today I can be here, somebody else can be there. We as a nation needs to consider the entire shipbuilding industry together, because as a nation there is a need for us. We just started off the topic with the 200 plus platform fleets being aspired by both the major customers of all of us. So again, the point what I want to convey is that there is enough on the platter for both the private shipyards and the public sector undertakings.
Commodore Hari, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you very much for joining us in BQ Prime. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.